Hi everyone, this is part 3, I think, of the box. Not sure how long this video will last because I haven't really prepared it fully. I thought I'd wing it a bit this time, but anyway, this is our finished basic box. So it's all dry, it's covered in the papers that I've chosen, and I have prepared a few odds and ends to go with it. So I've cut an envelope from Tracy's embellished floral kit, I think that one is, and I'm going to use that at the end for any leftover bits of ephemera that we don't use for other things. I've cut out a label which will go on the back, and I've also used an image from Tracy's layered tags kit that I'm going to use for the front image. And I wasn't sure whether to do this on camera or not really, but anyway, it's a bit of cross stitch fabric which I've just frayed. That did take a little while, and then I've stitched some white card on with straight stitch and then the image with zigzag stitch, and that's all I'm going to do with that. I'm just going to keep it simple, so we can glue that on. Might as well get that done. My glue needed to be upside down. This is the Beacon 3-in-1, which is very similar to the Fabri-Tac. I think it'll be strong enough for this. So some around the edges, some in the middle. And then that's just going to be towards the top and fairly central to this front piece there. She has got some butterflies, Tracy. I did think about using a butterfly tea card, but I don't know, I just like that image and I liked it on the white. Okay, so I'm using, the other thing I've done is cut out all the pieces from Tracy's ephemera kit number 2. So I printed, some of them I printed on cream paper, some of them I printed on parchment paper, and some of them I've printed on matte, good quality, I suppose it's photo paper, but it's the stuff that you use for flyers and things like that. So this kit hasn't got a button card or a lace card like the original. So I'm going to use these 2 pieces to replicate that, really. So the first thing I'm going to do is glue these to some cream card, and this is fairly lightweight card. And again, I think we'll stick to glue stick for this. I'm hoping this glue will dry quickly because I want to stitch, I want to sew through it. Doesn't always work that well with wet glue, as you can imagine. Okay, so I'm going to cut those out. is a library card that Tracy's made. So those are our two cards made up. So we'll use this larger one for the buttons, I think. I'm not too worried about the edges being dead straight on these because, as you will see in a moment, I'm going to use this little tool to rough the edges. I want them to look a bit shabby. This is the Tim Holtz. I've had this a while. If you haven't got one of these, I think mine is a bit blunt, you can use scissors. That's that. And then we need to ink the edges. Sorry, I think I might have been out of shot then. So I'm just going to take the ink in a little bit just to sort of brown it up a bit. This was done on grey parchment. So I've chosen, because I'm using lilac paper, I'm going to put these buttons, chosen lilac and green buttons. Okay, so I'm going to use embroidery thread, which I've knotted one end. So we'll start with this one. To do my 4 whole ones, I just mark it that side and then go up that side. I tend to do the 4 whole ones with a little cross in the centre. So that's 2 on. I'll do this one next. Obviously, if you were giving this as a gift, you could use real fancy buttons. These are vintage, but I'm not sure how vintage. Oh, through the wrong hole. There we go. And then a smaller one here. So you don't need an actual button card to make a button card. Any piece of ephemera will look good. And I've got another sort of olivey green button this side. So that's that one, and our final lilac button. So they're all on there. going to knot it like so a couple of times. So loop it through, back through, and that shouldn't move, but I will just leave a little tail. There we go. So that's our button card. Just our first piece in the pocket. Now we'll do exactly the same thing, but we'll use this one to wind some lace round. So I'm doing making the edges quite distressed. Okay. Ink them. Wrapping lace round, particularly if it's vintage lace. Probably want to wait for the ink to dry before you do the next bit. I'm just going to use non-vintage at the moment. I got this big spool of lace off eBay ages ago, more by luck than anything else. So I'm winding this down. And then I'll just do a few more going up so that the actual pretty bit of the lace bottom shows. And there's a nice amount on there for whoever you decide to give this to. Sorry, my talking and doing skills aren't great at the moment. There we go. So I'm going to cut that off and just use a little pin, one of these little pins, just to keep that secure. So that's that one. So that will go in there as well. And then we've got this beautiful photograph, and I don't want to do anything elaborate with this. I imagine somebody would just use this as a piece of ephemera. So I'm going to glue it to the card. Glue it, obviously you could use tea stained paper if you preferred. It would look quite nice stitched around, but I think for this particular box that I'm doing, I think we'll just leave it as is really. I'm going to distress the edges again slightly and ink the edges just to age it up a little bit. this sort of photograph would almost certainly come on quite thick card. Which is what the Victorian photographers used. So this one I'm just going to do a little bit in places. Again, it's better to wait for the glue to dry before you do this, really. The edges. And once this is properly dry, that'll be quite firm. So that will go in the back. I'm going to dress up one of these. I'm going to mount this on quite stiff card and dress it up with some lace and a smaller tag. I will show you how to do that in the next video. And I'm also going to do a small pocket here, which we'll do now. So I want it for these pieces to go in. So the pocket needs to be 4 7/8 by about 1 1/4. So I'm going to cut this an inch bigger. So I'm going to cut it 5 7/8 by 1 3/4. 5 7/8 by 1 3/4. Bear with me. I think that means we've got half an inch all the way around. So we'll score at half an inch, half an inch, half an inch. So I've scored that. I'm going to try it for size. Yes, got that right. Cut these out. This is just like we did the box, but this is a flat pocket. And this time I'm tapering everything slightly because I don't want the edges to show. So that will go like that, and I will just curve these bottom corners. The advantage of doing flaps like this is you get the full width of the pocket, but you also get a little bit of give, a little bit of leeway, really, so a little bit more space in your pocket. Touch more. Okay. Do these bottom corners. Just so that they match these corners. And then ink the edges. I did make I don't know, some of you might know I've been doing this sort of thing for a long time now, 7 or 8 years, probably longer to be honest. And I did make a more elaborate version of this box some years ago, which was a bit more mini album orientated. I'm going to put the link below so you can go and have a look at that. I did a full tutorial for that as well. Not great quality. I was very limited in my setup. But the boxes you can have a look at. They were decorated in a similar way to this, just a bit more elaborate. So you can see that I've glued that down. That should be dry pretty quickly. And then these tickets, I won't bother with that one because somebody can cut those out. These I will just ink the edges. And I want those to slip in over my bottom flap. At the moment I'm having a bit of trouble. There we go. So that's some of those. There's another one. And we can put a little bit more in there as we go along if we like. So I'm going to put some more stuff together to put in the pocket. I might do a top pocket here. Perhaps to fold, maybe to fold some of this ephemera up. And we've also got that to go in. So I'm going to finish this for now. I hope it wasn't too rambly, and I'll see you all again soon.